Hi, good evening, everyone. And today is March 15th, yet something unusual is happening in the world. So, on a single day, we can see major elections taking place across multiple continents. India, which is entering its navigation system, is entering transitional phase. A massive semiconductor push is underway. An energy crisis that triggered thousands of kilometers away is already shaking Indian markets. So when we step back and look at all these developments together, it begins to feel like the world is quietly shifting its direction. So in this video, I would like to give my opinion about five major developments today that is taking place. And importantly, what does it mean beyond the headlines? So before we begin, a quick disclaimer: the views, the videos which are presented here are analytically based because they are openly available sources from the news and the current developments. So this video is intended for informational and educational discussion, not for any political advocacy or financial advice. So the first one is the global election. The first big development for today, I think, can be described as global election Super Sunday because today, March 15, 2026, four major political events are unfolding globally, representing a massive shift in leadership across three continents. Kazakhstan is holding high stakes constitutional referendum. The goal is to decentralize power from presidency to the parliament. This is a major test for the country's reforming agenda. Next comes Vietnam, is selecting 500 members for the 16th National Assembly, and this election will dictate what would be Vietnam's economical status policy as it continues to attract manufacturing away from China. So in Republic of Congo, President Denis is seeking his fifth consecutive term. So this is being watched closely as a stability benchmark for Central Africa. And North Korea is holding a parliamentary elections for the 15th Supreme People's Assembly. So while some see this election as a standard administrative process, we should look at them as a pulse check on the global stability because in Kazakhstan it is a push of reform and in Congo it's a search of continuity. So the neutral perspective is that regardless of the system, these votes are essential indicators where the regional powers will lean in the next 5 years. The next segment is about ISRO's NAVIC system. So the this development is happening in space. India's regional navigation system has entered an important transition moment. As you are all aware about IRNS 1F satellite, which was launched in March 2016, right? It is officially completing its 10 years design life on March 10, 2026. But on March 13th, 2026, ISRO confirmed that onboard atomic clock stopped functioning. So this clock is critical because it powers precision navigation, timing, and positioning service. However, the satellite is not completely inactive. Instead, it has been repurposed for one way. This will be used for broadcasting messaging services. So, technical failures in space often are sensationalized as setbacks, but we have to look at the life cycle. So, IRNS 1F gave India a full decade of service. The neutral reality is that ISRO is in its transitional phase. So, we are waiting for the NVS 03 and NVS 04 launches to refresh the constellations. So, this isn't a failure of the system, it is a natural evolution of the space infrastructure. Um, so the next segment is the $11 billion Silicon Shield. So while space technology is evolving, another major shift is happening in India's semiconductor strategy. So India has been finalized the framework for an $11 billion semiconductor fund. So the goal is simple but very ambitious. The move from chip assembly to indigenous chip design and manufacturing. This can be a key signal of India's sustainability. Also, we saw this week when Airbus inaugurated its 5,000 seater tech center in Bengaluru. So, this move indicates the global technology giants are betting on India's deep tech engineering talent, not just IT service sectors. So there is still ongoing debate here. Critics argue that $11 billion is small compared to the 50 billion plus chip initiatives seen in um, United States or China. But the informative view is that India is playing a good strategy. The focus on the chip design and building a strong talent ecosystem. So it's not about beating the world today. I think it's about ensuring what would be India's status 10 years from now. That India does not have to face any technological blockade. And the next segment is we all were shook in India, and I think the world would also know the national LPG and energy crunches. So, another story which was very much close to home and it involved energy supply. This crisis actually began after US Israel military strikes against Iran, which started on February 28, 2026. So, this led to an effective closure on the Strait of Hormuz. This waterway is crucial because India imports nearly 90% of its LPG through this route. So this resulted very immediate effect. Okay, it created panic bookings across the country, and 1,352 point crash in Sensex on March 9th. So, however, there is some relief now. On March 14th, the shipping ministry confirmed that the LPG tankers Shivlik and Nanda Devi carrying 92,000 tons of LPG safely crossed the strait and is now heading towards Gujarat. So, this crisis is a perfect example of what economists call as imported inflation. So, the government is prioritizing household supply, but commercial users are already facing black market prices. A balanced view suggests that while the immediate supply is arriving, this event exposes our vulnerability. So it's a strong reminder that our country needs to diverse energy routes or accelerate the shift towards alternatives, just like green hydrogen and so on. Okay, the fifth segment is the model conduct code of conduct and what happens with this. So back in India, another important political development is expected today. The Election Commission of India is set to be announced while you're watching this video. I think Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and West Bengal and Assam would have been already been these dates would have already been announced. So once this announcement happens, the model conduct or code of conduct will immediately come into effect. This means the government cannot announce or start new public projects. Interestingly, just before this deadline, a major infrastructure project was completed in Coimbatore. On March 13th, the 11.8 kilometer phase 1 of the Western Ring Road from Madhukarai to Madampatti was inaugurated. So inaugurations right before the code of conduct are common sights in Indian politics. But looking behind the timing for the residents in Coimbatore, the road is a genuine win. It reduces the 45 minutes industrial traffic roll to about 15 minutes commute. The real takeaway here is how infrastructure timelines are often synchronized with the electoral calendar. The last segment for today is the South South economic reset. So, finally, a quieter but extreme important shift is happening in global trade. New data from UNCTAD suggests that South-South trade between developing nations may surpass North-South trade for the first time in 2026. In 2025 alone, developing countries exported $6.8 trillion worth of goods to other developing nations. So, what are we witnessing may be a gradual centering of global economy. For decades, Western markets were primary destinations for export. Today, global South is increasing, becoming it's one of the biggest customers. This reduces the dependency on Western economic cycle. But this also means countries must build entirely new financial shipping and logistics systems to support this new trade network. So when we connect these stories together, elections, satellites, semiconductors, energy supply, infrastructure, global trade, a broadened pattern is being seen. The world is not just reacting to events, it's just quietly reorganizing. The real question is now is what happened today? What direction this shift will move the world towards and what will happen in the next decades? Thank you for watching.